I love this intro music. Hi there, this is Margie again. That was a powerful conversation with Dr. Jackie Hood Martin. We talked about how to maintain a balanced life, and we did get some nuggets. We know that we have to stay motivated to be inspired. If you did not listen to that session, go back to Margie TV on YouTube, or back to the podcast and listen to Dr. Jackie. She was amazing. Well, we are going to have another power moment with Dr. K, Dr. Katrina Hutchins. She is affectionately called Dr. K. And I have followed this woman for a little bit, and you know what? She is God's girl for real. She has a way of inspiring her network. She is always motivating and uplifting others, and so I cannot wait to start that chat with her. 30 minutes goes by so fast. These chats are too quick. I wish we could talk for hours, but for the little time that we're going to have Dr. K, we'll take it. We'll take her nuggets, and I will, tell you about her social media handles and how you can follow her or be part of her movement. So we're going to be bringing her in. Once again, this is Margie. This is Humanity Chats. We do this every Thursday. We get together and we talk about everyday issues that impact humans. So let's go. Let's bring Dr. K to the house. Hey, Dr. K.
Hello. It's so good to see you.
Yes, it is. I'm loving your beautiful smile. Welcome to Margie TV.
Thank you so much. I am so thrilled to be here and so honored to have this time with you. So thank you for the invitation and for the opportunity to share with you and share with your listeners. It's a delight.
Well, it is a delight and an honor to have you. Dr. K, we're going to get into the conversation, but you're going to have to tell us about yourself. Who is Dr. K and what does she like to do?
I think you said it in the beginning. I have to start with number one, first and foremost, I am God's girl for real. And let me just say a little bit about what that means for people who don't know me and perhaps they've never heard that terminology or that phrase. I'm God's girl for real is a mantra that I took just kind of as my own mantra many years ago. I was going through a really difficult time in my life, really doubting myself, really feeling like I was a mess. And just even in the midst of that, getting to a place where I came in contact with the overwhelming love of God. And even in that mess, with my flaws, with my imperfections, one of the things that I came to recognize is that I was so perfectly loved by Him. So I started saying, I'm God's girl for real. Look, I know I'm God's girl for real, right? So it was just this sense of, I know that He loves me. And so I just kind of started sharing that, and others started to kind of say it as well. So I started, kind of gathering with some of my friends, and that was kind of our declaration. I'm God's girl for real. And so today it's grown to a network of, I think close to 4,000 in the network of just, women who have come together under that network, making that declaration, I'm God's girl for real. So that's kind of who I am initially. I cannot talk about my identity without connecting that identity to God. In the earth, I wear many, many hats. I'm a professor, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a certified personal and executive coach. I own my own company, a personal and professional growth and development company. Just started a nonprofit organization where we're working with girls around their voice. I am a mom of two amazing children and a Mimi of two grandsons and one on the way, another grandson on the way. And I'm a wife. I am a wife of a bishop, a pastor. So I'm a first lady. So all of those things are a part of my God identity. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I get to show up the way I get to show up in the earth.
Wow. Dr. K, you wear a lot of hats. And your life is pretty full. I mean, amazing to be a Mimi, to be a mom, a professor, a professional, married to a bishop, have your own nonprofit. Um, you must have some fun through this. So share a fun fact with us.
A fun fact. So, a fun fact about me, let's see. Many people probably don't know this, but I love dancing. Like, I love dancing. I've always been a dancer. I grew up just kind of dancing and not in a structured way. I just like to move to music. Exactly. So I love, love, love dancing. And so that's a fun fact. So many people probably wouldn't know that about me or wouldn't perhaps even see me being a dancer, but I do. So that's a fun fact.
That is so cool because I love to dance too. And back in the day, I thought I was a really cool dancer. And then the kids started dancing too. And then my dancing didn't look as good as it used to.
Right?
But I don't care. I still think I'm an amazing dancer.
I think the same thing.
Well, Dr. K, it's nice to know a little bit more about you. Now, I know you are not just my sister as a God's girl for real, but you're my dancing partner.
Yes, that's right. That's exactly right.
I see that we have some comments in the chat room. We have okay, Dr. Newman is always joining our chats. She's joining us from Cramerton, North Carolina. Thank you, Morcor, for joining us. Let's see who's next.
Oh, it's my sister. Hello, sister.
You're not just a good dancer, you're a great sister. Well, that is amazing. She says
and she's seen me dance, and she still thinks I'm a great sister.
oh my goodness. Well, can I be your sister too, Kimberly? I'm good.
Yes. Thank you, Sissy. Thank you for being here.
You're getting a lot of love. People are wowed by you.
Hello, Evangelist.
Yes, you're the first lady. Truly, truly, truly. Wow. What an amazing crew that you have supporting you here today.
So great.
Yes, yes, yes. So, Dr. K, we're going to talk about the power of elevation. Now, we just had a conversation with Dr. Jackie about how to maintain balance.
Yes.
So it looks like this is just God's way of lifting us all up today. Okay, so what is the power of elevation?
So it is such a nice segue from Dr. Jackie's segment. I had an opportunity to see a little bit of that as she talked about that sense of maintaining balance, which is so critically important. And so when we talk about the power of elevation, the truth of the matter is that you cannot elevate unless you have that sense of balance, that sense of harmony in your life, because elevation is this notion of being lifted up to a higher state, right? Elevation, as I explain it, or as I have conceptualized it, is not this elevation to the next job, right? the next house, the next car, the next thing. It is literally embodying the spiritual elevation from God. It's actually answering a call from God to come up higher. And I just really sense that we are in this season where it is time for us to come up higher, to be elevated and have this sense of being elevated to a higher state of being where we have a higher order of thinking, a higher order of perceiving, a higher order of discerning. It's a higher way of living and moving and having our being in the earth. And so it really is kind of moving away. And, this elevation will call us away from some people, some places, some things. Why? Because it requires this sense of letting go. And so we can't even elevate if we are consumed with holding on to what has us weighted down, perhaps has us bound, perhaps has us locked up. So it is that sense of shaking ourselves. And listen, when we look over the course of the last year and coming into 2021, it's been this opportunity to shake ourselves, right? And so this shaking gives us this opportunity to shake off the things that don't serve us well, to shake off the things, the people, places, and things that don't add to our lives, so that we can respond to the call of God to come up higher. So that's that long response to what is elevation.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a question. So, what happens when you feel like you're stuck? I mean, you're talking about that higher calling and how we have to elevate ourselves. What happens to someone who is unemployed and is feeling down and cannot pay their rent? And how does a person like that elevate?
Mm-hmm.
Possible.
And here's the thing: it's this internal elevation, right?
Mhm.
Because we will always, here's our reality, we are always going to have external situations and circumstances and issues. Those things will always be present.
Mhm.
Here's our opportunity. Those things exist on the external.
Mhm.
We have an opportunity not to allow them to become our internal,
Mhm.
meaning that they don't define our actions, how we perceive ourselves, our self-worth. We can be going through dark places. We can be in the middle of a storm, but still have this sense of being elevated with God, meaning I know that even in the midst of this storm, even in the midst of this dark place, even when I don't know where my next meal may be coming from, how I may be able to pay my rent, right? But I know that there is a dwelling place in Him, because the Word of God says, He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. That's an elevated place, right? And so our circumstance is getting to the point where we recognize that our circumstances don't have to determine our trust and our ability to walk with God, because we're always going to have circumstances, situations, issues, but we can get to the place where those situations, circumstances, and issues don't determine our faith and trust and confidence in God.
So now this is my question. Would this be like when you're praying and you're exhorting and you feel like you in the spirit? Is that the kind of elevation you're talking about?
That does happen. I mean, that's a way. That's one of the ways to elevate, through worship, right? Through worship, through our communication with God. But you know what? More than anything, praise and worship, of course, and prayer, those are critical pieces. But it's also assuming this posture of surrender and recognizing, God, my life is not my own. I see that now, right? It's relinquishing control. As much as I may want to control things, I, I'm giving up control. I'm saying yes to you. So it's about my yes to God. It's about my surrendered heart to him. It's about the attitude of my heart to him. So it is that place of just surrender and saying, I recognize that I am nothing apart from you. And so it is that literal sense of placing ourselves right in the hand of God, where he has ordained, purpose, planned for us to exist.
So, does this apply to other religions? Because you're talking about, God's plan. What happens if I'm Hindu or Muslim? Does this power of elevation cut across?
And so I can only answer that from my faith perspective, which is Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe just as humans, and let me answer it from a place of, since we're talking about humanity chats, let me answer it from a place of humanity, right? So I do approach this from a faith-based perspective, but we can start at the place of humanity. And sometimes just our humanity calls for us to have an elevated place. What does that look like? That looks like extending grace to other humans. Just because you honor humanity, right? It is about recognizing the detriment of judging other humans. Just because you recognize how tore up your stuff can be. So where do I have space to judge, right? So it is that sense of even honoring humanity. Honoring humanity. And that is universal. Every human being can honor another human being. We don't always do that, but that is the ideal. That's an elevated state of being. That's an elevated state of being. I teach diversity and inclusion and equity in 2 different institutions. I do workshops on it and all of that. And one of the things that I always make sure is situated at the core of that work is our honoring of humanity, just one human to another, right? If we could recognize that the starting point is humanity, not color, not race, not ethnicity, it is humanity. And so that's an elevated state of being.
Wow, wow, wow. Now, listeners, to know a little bit more about Dr. K, she is committed to positioning her voice in a way that amplifies the voices of others. And so, as you can hear from the way she's talking, she's always thinking about the next person and how that person can thrive and succeed. And it comes as no surprise that she chose the topic about the power of elevation to talk about tonight. Thank you for your work in amplifying the voices of others, because sometimes it is so hard for other people to speak up. And does that also come from your desire to elevate others?
Absolutely. So the work that I did around voice kind of came out of my doctoral studies. So I interviewed women who were in organizations where they were sitting in silence. And that phenomenon is called organizational silence. And so I interviewed women who had been in situations, in workplaces where they just were not speaking up. Now, it didn't mean that they weren't talking. They were talking, but they weren't speaking up in ways that matter. That's the power of our voice. We can position it in ways that matter. Here's our reality. Every woman uses, or every person, I should say, uses their voice. There's something totally different about positioning our voices. When we think about positioning our voices, it is that elevation of critical thought. It is about what impact do I want to have? How can I get the greatest influence? How can I harness the power of my voice so that I can master positive influence with others. And that again is elevated voice. That's another way that we elevate our voices, when we become thoughtful and strategic and critical thinkers about not just our words, but even how we show up in the world. You know, the research shows that only 7% of our communication happens in words. The other 93% happens in how we show up. And listen, our show up can be so loud, right? Without even words. Have you ever been sitting in a room and the way someone walked in and they didn't say a word, but you could feel their energy and it kind of changed the room as they came in because they had this positive energy? They brought in this energy with them. Or you could have been sitting in a room and someone walked in and in the back of your mind you heard wah wah. Because they literally brought the air down in the room because of the way they came in it. Well, that is voice. That is the epitome of voice. It is our message to the world, even when we're not saying anything. So we have to always ask ourselves, what do I want my message to be? What is the most elevated message I could have, even in the way that I show up? How do I want to come in this space? When I thought about coming into this space with you this evening, I wanted to come in with energy. I wanted to come in with excitement. I wanted you to know that I'm honored to be here. You know, I didn't want to show up like, yeah, let me just see what she's going to ask me and I'll just answer whatever she decides to ask me. And that's just how we'll do this. So, you know, I wanted my voice to be elevated. It doesn't mean in sound. It just means in presence, in how we show up. And so again, yes, voice is connected to elevation and even our opportunity to amplify the voices of others. That's a part of being in this elevated state as well.
Well, you are showing up because Tiffany said very energetic spirit. Yeah.
Tiffany.
The power of voice. Yes, yes. You have some thumbs up in there. You have, hey, Dr. K. Yeah, you got people's in here. Elevate voices. Yes, yes. Well, Dr. K, so what you're saying is that we've got to elevate our voices inside of us. You're not necessarily talking about the outside. I guess what you're saying is that what we feel inside would reflect on the outside, right?
Absolutely. Elevated voice starts on the inside, and it starts with the stories we tell ourselves. You know, at the end of 2020, I did just this piece around the, you know, telling ourselves the truth. And what that means is making sure that our narrative is the narrative that elevates us. Because if not, we can be notorious for creating narratives that take us off track, that don't align with God's purpose, plan, and destiny for our lives. Why? Because we are believing the lies that we've told ourselves or the narratives that we've allowed others to create for us. And we wake up and we recognize we are living in someone else's story. Or either the story that we created for ourselves that has us so far from God's created purpose, plan, and destiny. He is the author and finisher of our faith in this walk that we walk, right? But sometimes we intervene in what he's written and we create this whole other chapter, these whole other books, right? These whole other manuscripts that take us off the path of what has already been written for our lives. And that's why this call to elevation is even the call to get back into the story I wrote for you, not the story you allowed somebody else to write or the story you're writing for yourself that is so far away from what I have purpose, planned, and ordained for your life. Come back to my story. It's the greatest love story that has ever been written. And so I need you to come back, right? So that's what elevation is. And it does start on the inside of us. And it is about taking back that power that we either gave away or we allowed someone to take from us, so that we can transfer it back to the power that is our divine supernatural power, that is how we are supposed to be living in the kingdom, even as we live in the earth. So it is a call back, right? And we need to be in this place where we're singing reunited, and it feels so good.
Well, I've been
Come back to our first love.
and I have been displaying those comments on the screen with the loves and glory to God. Speak, Dr. K. Now, great discussion from Sandra Watson. This is what, I'm beginning to wonder, are you sure you are not the bishop?
We won't let him hear you say.
I see your dear friend Mary Thomas here. She said, "Good word, my friend."
Oh, that's my sweet friend. I love her so much. Love her so much. Mary Thomas is such a part of my journey. Such a part of my journey. We have been friends and sisters for a very long time, and she has been such a strategic, God-given part of my journey. So I'm always so grateful when she shows up. Thank you, Mary. I love you.
I am not going to let you just blow Merry kisses without me blowing some too. Hey, Shameless, what's up?
Yes. Mary Thomas has many, many fans.
Yes, she does. And so do you. You are girl for real. And you have a whole army. I mean, I cannot believe we've been speaking for 26 minutes. I think the clock is wrong, and somehow it's just fast forwarding because Mary says she loves me. She didn't say she loves you. She said, I love you, Margie. You know that I'm telling a tale. There is no way she's going to say that she loves both of us.
Oh my gosh.
I cannot believe that, time is just flying. But Dr. K, you are the author of 5 books, 5 inspirational books. I guess it's no surprise that you want us to learn how to elevate. And your 4th book, okay, that's what I want to hit on before we close up. It says the Voice Positioning System: 7 Ways to Harness Your Power and Master Your Influence. Now, girl, that is powerful. Tell me about it.
Yes, so the Voice Positioning System, VPS, is the book that emerged out of that research when I did my doctoral studies. And so I wrote the book for women, for us to recognize the power of our voices and how to have these areas. And I talk specifically about 7 things, obviously, that are critical for us to examine as we think about how to harness that power to position our voices. And again, I want to emphasize position our voices, not just merely using our voices, but positioning our voices in a way that matters. And so that is the 4th book. I would love for you all to grab your copy. It's on Amazon.
Okay, y'all, you heard. Go on Amazon.com. All you have to do is type in Katrina Hutchins, and all her books are going to come up. Y'all got to buy those books. And don't just buy the books, leave reviews so that other people will know that the book is great. Yes, and if you don't like it as much, just buy it. Don't leave a review. We don't.
That's right. only 5s. It's
only 5.
Only 5s. If you can't give it a 5, just mail it back to me or something.
Yeah, we want that elevation, people. We want that elevation. That's what we're talking about. And now, Dr. K, you are a lot of elevation. You also host a radio show.
Yes.
With Power.
Yes, every Wednesday.
Yes,
every Wednesday, Talk Radio with Dr. K. The place where talk is power. It is live on WOKB 1680 AM, so you can stream it live straight from the radio station WOKB 1680 AM, or you can watch radio on the Facebook page at Talk Radio with Dr. K on the Facebook page. I would love for you to join me. Love for you to join me. We have powerful discussions on those Wednesdays. You've been a guest.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm fancy with that. I've been on Dr. K's show, y'all. Yeah, I am just that. Yeah. I used my voice. I used my voice.
Yes, you did.
I
Yes.
wasn't quite elevated, but I am still elevating. You know,
Well, listen, and to that point, you are using your voice on this platform. Humanities Chat. I mean, that is exactly what you're doing through this platform, through the guests you bring, through having these conversations about things that matter. This is a platform of elevation. So thank you for all you're doing and the way that you are elevating your voice and amplifying the voices of others. This is the epitome of what that looks like.
Oh, girl, you're making me feel so good about myself right now. Well, thank you for those kind words. You know, when we started Humanity Chats, it was just supposed to be a little, and I did talk to Mary about it. It was just supposed to be a little talk about, you know, the human oath. And look at us, almost a year later, we've had what, 52, 53 episodes, and we keep going. And thank you. I'm so surprised at the people that tune in every week to watch and listen, especially those listening on the podcast.
Yes.
It's just amazing how far it can go. I mean, 20 countries, over 100 cities.
So amazing.
It's amazing. You know, I'm sitting in this little bitty town. Well, no disrespect to Spartanburg, but I'm thinking that, you know, there are people in like San Diego or Los Angeles, and you know, we're here and we're reaching people in Russia, Iran, Nigeria, France, all over. And it's a God thing. Thank you. I have been motivated and inspired by joining your platform with all the nuggets that you drop and all the Bible verses that you share with us. Thank you so much for that. You know, this talk, it just went by too fast.
Can I interject something really quickly? Because you were just saying that, you know, you're in Spartanburg, and it's smaller than, you know, other cities in California and major cities, but it speaks to the power of God to elevate your voice right where you are. It doesn't matter. And that's the thing about God and elevation. Location does not matter. He can elevate you right where you are. And so I love that about him, that location doesn't matter. As long as he can find you, he can elevate you. Right?
Ooh, and we've got to
find you, he can elevate you. So our goal should be in a position for him to find us, that place of surrender, that place where he can locate right where we are so that he can elevate us.
Okay, sis. That's the word. Now, viewers, listeners, if you're here, YouTubers, thank you for joining us week after week. Facebook viewers, that's what's up. Now, podcast listeners, you know you always get a little extra love from Margie Marge. Thank you. And this is what we're telling you. You know, Dr. K and myself, we're blessing you tonight, and we're saying that may Jesus locate you, and may you get your blessings. May it come to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Amen. You know, and whatever religion you are, may the blessings find you. These are hard times. I was reading the news, and I did touch base with friends from Texas. I have friends who have not had water for days. Some have not had electricity, and they've been bunking with others in these COVID times. It's 4 or 5 families bunking together just so that they can stay warm, or that they can warm their food. And it's not easy out there. And so we all truly need each other. Now, Dr. K, do you have, I know we're past our time, viewers, but you're all enjoying Dr. K, right? Yeah, let me hear some yeses in the chat room and some thumbs up. That's what's up. Well, do you have any words of wisdom? You've dropped a lot of nuggets, but do you have any words of wisdom before we end this chat?
Absolutely. And I do want to just kind of follow up on what you just said and acknowledge that even in the midst of, kind of this wonderful time that we've had together this evening, that there are people facing some critical challenges right now. And I reached out to one of my dear friends who is in Texas at this moment. And so we certainly want to keep them in prayer. And again, that's another way that we amplify others, through even lifting them up to God, elevating them up to God, especially in times that are just simply out of our control. There's nothing we can do about it except to lift them up to God. That's another form of elevation. And so wherever you are, wherever you're finding yourself right now, if it's in a challenging place, if it's in a hard place, if you're facing issues and you don't know how you're going to see your way out of those issues, I want you to understand that God sees, He cares, and He knows. And I want you to be able to find the strength to get into that place of just surrender and recognize this: there is nothing happening on God's watch that He doesn't know about. So everything that is happening, everything that you are experiencing, He knew this place before the foundation of the world. And so I'm encouraging you to trust the one who already knows, and that you commit to simply elevating to that secret place of the Most High, so that you can abide under the shadow of the Almighty.
Whew, amen. Preach. Y'all heard God sees us, He hears us, He knows us by name. And so let's not give up on our faith. Dr. K, this has been amazing, wonderful. You got me all smiling. I'm showing off my Black Girl Magic earrings. Hey, guys. Yes, it's Black History Month. I'll be wearing my melanin popping and my Black Girl Magic earrings all month. Yes. For me, yes, yes. Next week we're gonna have next week's guest. We're gonna have Jill Littlejohn Bostic out of South Carolina, and we're gonna have Marshawn Evans Daniels.
Yes.
She is dynamite. I mean, she's been on Celebrity Apprentice, I believe. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe it was Actual Apprentice. Miss America. She's a lawyer. Jill Little John. She's in business. She's been in city council. She's worked for Greenville. My goodness, she worked for the Urban League at some point. These women are going to come in, and Jill is going to talk about leadership and love. You don't want to miss that. All that love and leadership. Nice combination. She's gonna drop some nuggets. I guess every week we do hear some nuggets. Yeah. And Evans Daniels is going to be talking health matters. She just had triplets, but she had triplets not too long ago. And we're gonna enjoy her truly, because she also has ideas on how to turn. No, she has tips on how to turn your ideas into income and all the good stuff. So tune in next week, Thursday, to Humanity Chats. And you know what? If you're not subscribed yet, you're really missing out on something. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube so that every time an episode comes up, you're going to get to see it. And hey, if you're not much of a watcher, that's fine. You can listen. That podcast, it is powerful. And you can binge listen. Like you listen to Dr. K, you love her, go listen to Dr. Jackie too.
Yes.
That's how it's done. So subscribe. We're on Spotify, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Listen Notes. I could go on and on. Google Podcasts. It's everywhere, y'all. Can you believe it? We're everywhere. Humanity Chats with Margie. Find us for all the fun conversations. Dr. K, it has been an honor.
Thank you.
And I am yes, I am so thankful to you, my dance partner and my God's girl for real sister. And so, yeah, we're doing it. We're giving it up together.
Yes.
I see, yeah, people in the chat room, we see you. We see all your comments. Oh, Dawn Deck is yeah. Hey, sis.
I
Woo!
love her. Hey, Dawn.
She's got the best pearls.
Oh my gosh, she's
Yes,
beautiful inside and out. Beautiful
Dawn.
inside and out.
Yes, Dawn be styling and profiling. Um, yes, yes, yes. Look at all these positive comments. Well, we love you,
That I
Dawn. Yes, we love everybody here. Thank you for watching. We wish we could stay here and chat with you for hours, but you know, Dr. K's got to go be a first lady. I think she's going to be a bishop next. I really don't know because she's got the word. But thank you all so much for watching. Share this with your friends. We hope to see you back next week. Take care. Stay blessed. Elevate.